T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
Discovery's mission. Discovery's 3 liquid fuel main engines now throttle back to 67% of rated performance, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it breaks through the sound barrier. Discovery already 3.5 miles in altitude, 1.5 miles downrange, traveling almost 750 miles an hour. Everything looking good on the bird. 57 seconds into the flight.
It's amazing.
Engines beginning to rev up. Standing by for the throttle up call from Capcom Steve Frick.
Discovery Houston, go and throttle up.
Roger, go and throttle up. Sounds good. Have only.
The throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Steve Lindsay.
Discovery Houston, it's expected data hits. It'll clear shortly.
Copy.
Lindsay joined on the flight deck by pilot Mark Kelly, flight engineer Lisa Nowak, and mission specialist Mike Fossum, mission specialists Piers Sellers, Stephanie Wilson, and Thomas Ryder of the European Space Agency down on the mid-deck. Ryder headed for 6 months on the International Space Station. 1 minute, 47 seconds into the flight, 22 miles in altitude, 18 miles downrange, traveling 2,600 miles an hour. Standing by for solid rocket booster separation. Solid rocket booster separation confirmed. Guidance now converging. Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
Should have a good forward length now on estimate.
Hey, you sound good.
And clean
2 minutes,
separation of
35
the
seconds
solid
into the flight,
rocket
39
boosters
miles
there.
in altitude for Discovery, 49 miles
Ship makes the
downrange,
trip from
traveling
Florida
3,200
past
miles an
New
hour.
York City in about 3 minutes, heading just past Nova Scotia. And that launch window is so precise as they try to link up with the space station in orbit at 17,500 miles an hour, going past. But no matter how often you see it, Ned, you can't help marvel at maybe the most impressive machine ever built by man.
Your heart is in your mouth every time. You remember Columbia had gotten into trouble, Challenger got into trouble in 1 minute 13 seconds. Columbia did in 1 minute 21 seconds. We passed both those marks, and they're going faster and faster.
That flying foam danger, they said, was in the first 135 seconds or so. So they're beyond that point as well. Katie Coleman, I know you were so hopeful to get back on one of these as well. Your thoughts as you watch this?
Well, I have to say I wish it was me, but it's just not my turn today, and I could just not help but think of Stephanie and Lisa and Mike. It's their first time, and there is just nothing like that first time. It's unbelievable to leave the planet that fast and go that far, and they're not even there yet. I just know they're so excited.
And for the lucky ones in the front row with the window seats, to see that atmosphere change, to see the light change outside the window as you're shoved back in that seat, describe that.
Well, in the back seat, we actually cheat, and we have a little mirror in our checklist, and that way we can actually look out those overhead windows, and I saw those, puffy white clouds kind of like we had today. Just get smaller and smaller and smaller. It's just amazing. The blue sky turns to black.
Here's another look at the launch, and NASA has just added more cameras to scrutinize these launches in the last 2 missions, especially. A battery of some 121 aimed at the vessel from all angles, on board, from on top of the fuel tanks there as well, inside, on the ground, miles away, and they'll be examining all of that data net over the next hours to try to figure out if we saw any foam.
And over the next few days, they've added several cameras, in fact, on the booster itself. You've seen a view looking down the external tank at the belly of the shuttle orbiter. Once they get into orbit, they will spend the next couple of days looking over every inch of the belly and the front wings of the shuttle to make sure it didn't get dinged by any foam. That's something that's new since Columbia.
So much urgency to get that International Space Station built in time before this fleet is retired in the next 3.5 years or so. But so far, they are well on their way. But this is just the beginning of a 13-day mission, and we will cover it all right here. You can use the resources of ABC News to check in. Of course, you can do so online at any time. And we're going to return now to regular programming, but as I mentioned, we'll continue, and we will break in if events warrant and continuing coverage on abcnews.com. I'm Bill Weir for Ned Potter, Katie Coleman, Lisa Stark. Happy Independence Day.